in the 505, moved to the 90 way. Mom and pop, so was cat food on the plate. Government aid meant the government cheese. We on government land, we still ain't free.
Y'all, it's KMB the Sexy Ninja in the place to be on the ROAD. Such a beautiful day. This fool's just driving through the parking lot like crazy. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Why are you driving like that? People driving crazy in the Walmart parking lot. They swerving, they riding, thinking they Vin Diesel, living their life 1/4 mile at a time. Oh my goodness. It is so good to be alive today. And just a welcome today because I'm kicking myself in the ass. I overslept this morning, didn't get to go walk. So now I'm bogging down. I'm just like, you know what? I really need to just do some changes. But in a positive way and not kick myself in the ass and being all like, oh, I'm so sad. No, I gotta wake up, put it in my chest, make it feel in my chest, or what Big Daddy used to say. But yeah. But I got a question the other day that I was thinking about just because I have a lot of passion for something called Star Wars. I don't know if you've heard of this little franchise or whatnot, but the state of the franchise itself, because because Skeleton Crew is the next big show coming out. Well, I say big in quotations because the last few shows have not been big, or they've been very criticized by a lot of nerds and whatnot. But I'm somebody that goes in, and everything needs to stop rolling around. I go in just to try to enjoy Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I just want Star Wars to go on forever. Like, yes, the one stain in the franchise for me is The Last Jedi, and I've said that over and over again. But I'm also critical at the same time of, these shows. Like, out of the shows, The Mandalorian is by far the superior of the bunch, except for season 3. Season 3 is just, there's hit or miss episodes to the point to where it's just like, it's really hard to grasp how, like, that season's just not solid. Like, those first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, oh my goodness, man. Like, you were on the ride of your life, and it changed the game in just like in general for Star Wars, and I really highly enjoyed those first 2 seasons. Then of course we got Andor, that's the prequel to Rogue One of the best Star Wars films out there. Not to Empire is still, it was one of my favorites. This year I didn't get to do it. I wanted to do for my birthday, which is this Sunday, I wanted to go watch Empire on the big screen. That's been my goal for a little bit, is I keep hinting at my family, like, hey, I want you to rent a theater out for me. Hey, I want to see Empire Strikes Back. They're like, hey, big head boy, you can watch it, streaming. You haven't have like 7 copies of that film. And I'm like, yes, that's true. But I want to see it on the big screen. I've seen Return of the Jedi. I've seen A New Hope. I have not seen Empire on the big screen, and I feel like that's a necessary thing in my life, that I want to see that movie on the big screen. But Andor, solid show. I started some reviews for it back when it first started coming out, but it's just some stuff in that show that just doesn't seem Star Wars-y, but it's also, that show is just, it's marinating just right. Like, I want to do a big rewatch before season 2 drops. That show is just, it's becoming a classic amongst fans, even though a lot of people at the time were like, oh, kind of crapping on it and stuff like this in the beginning. That happens though. It's like Phantom Menace. I lived in a time when everybody hated the prequels. Like, now it's like, prequels rejoice, just because Star Wars fans are like that. And I think the sequel trilogy will marinate just as well. They've been trying to get a new film out there, and I'm itching and clawing. I'm like, I want a Star Wars film. I know I got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Don't like the title, but man, I want a Star Wars film so bad in the theaters and whatnot. So it's just one of those things where to be a Star Wars fan, you really need to be patient. And like with the shows, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I liked Obi-Wan. Like, I've been waiting for a movie. It was supposed to be a movie, then it became a TV show. And the show's okay. I really love the Anakin and Vader. Anakin, as Vader, and then the Obi-Wan. I really thought that was cool. Their last fight, where where Anakin, well, Vader tells him, like, Anakin's dead. This isn't your fault. This was my choice. That was some powerful, heavy stuff right there. And it made me cheer up and whatnot. But the whole, like, thing with the little Princess Leia and whatnot, and they try to incorporate Luke, it's just like, and Reva just being a weak character and stuff like that. It's just a lot of that show just did not click the way it should have, because, you know, you could have told a lot more story with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then finally getting to the point to where Vader tells him, like, Anakin is dead. Your friend is dead. Like, you know, this is nobody's fault. This is just the reality of the way things turned out. And I thought that was a much more meaty story in there. Ahsoka, I personally really liked Ahsoka, but I get why people are mad about it, you know, because, or just kind of disappointed, because it is a heavy show that is based a lot on Star Wars Rebels, you know, because there's people out there like, hey man, you should watch Ahsoka. They're like, well, do I have to watch something? I'm like, oh yeah, well, we got this season, we got this thing breakdown, you know, I show them a YouTube video, like, yeah, so you can get everybody out there. So, you know, because they've been sprinkling Rebels throughout, you know, we got Zeb in the Mandalorian season 3 and whatnot, a live action version of him, you know, and we have all this stuff that's tying to Rebels. We got Thrawn. You know, they've been teasing Thrawn for a bit, and they really don't explain why he's a threat, though. Like, what makes this blue man that much of a threat? They really don't establish that well, you know. But have you ever read Heir to the Empire? And that's the thing, is like, I have to go and reference books and comic books. I got to reference things to get people to be like, oh, so is that why? You know, okay, I got to do this. Like, with Ahsoka, there's a lot of homework that needs to go in to watching that show. Like, and as for me, who's someone who is a Star Wars fan, who watches anything and everything Star Wars, like, it was fine for me. I really enjoyed it. But I could understand why the common person just being like, oh, I'm going to watch this, and being like, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what, like, who's this? Who? What? You know, Sabine? What? You know, I get it. You know, I understand people freaking out. Like, I have to do homework to watch a show. I get it. And then next up on our journey is the Acolyte. I actually really enjoyed the Acolyte. I thought the Acolyte was a fun show. Episode 3 is the weak sauce of it. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. And I will say this, because I just finished Agatha. Agatha, the Witch's Road. The Witch's Road is by far a superior song to the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. I will listen to the Witch's Road over and over again, because it's such a great song, and it has such a crazy, like, if you watch Agatha, it has a crazy twist of why that song is there, and how it was manipulating witches and stuff like that, and how Agatha was taking everyone's powers and everything. But with the Acolyte, there was a lot of things I really enjoyed in there. Like, the Stranger, like, I was just like, oh man, like, Chimere, like, we could do a lot with this. But they, you know, it doesn't take it to, like, I think 4th or 5th episode to where I probably saw some of the craziest lightsaber battles I've ever seen. Just, and there's people dying in the show, like Yord, who got his neck snapped, just, you know, there's consequences. Jackie, who gets killed too. And Master Soul, who takes forever to tell you what's going on. I have to tell you another day. No, you don't. You could tell me today. It's just as bad as Ant-Man Quantumania. Like, with Jan and everything. Where was it Jan? Yeah, I can't off the top of my head, but where she's just like, oh no, it's, you know, it's him. He's so scary. Why is he scary? You know, why? Oh, I can't tell you. But I had this whole other life in this world, you know, in this universe, but I can't tell you about it. I can't tell you why Kang the Conqueror's bad. But why? Like, you could tell us why we're down here and why you seem terrified for your life. Can you tell us, please? Because our lives are in danger as well. Can you tell us why it is Kang the Conqueror is so bad? No, but Ant-Man and Wasp beat him. I hate that movie. I think I hate that movie because when I went to go see that movie, I got myself hyped. I watched Ant-Man. I watched the second Ant-Man and Wasp. Then I watched Endgame, and then I went to go watch Ant-Man Quantumania. And you know, it's just bad. Like it's just a terrible story that is just, it just seems unnecessary. Like you could have kept the heart and soul of the first two movies, and what you did with Scott in Endgame, like he's pretty much the guy that comes up with like, we're going on a time heist, But back to Star Wars. The Acolyte, like I said, and Darth Plagueis, I thought that was really cool, but I don't understand why he's just in a cave being a creeper, watching just around the corner like, hey guys, what are you doing there, huh? I really like the twins. I thought there was some depth to those characters that could be searched upon. I will say the child actors, though, or at least the child actor, that part of the story, they were just annoying as kids. Like the flashback episode with them as kids, they're just annoying. But adult versions of them is fine. And I think that was the problem with that show, is like there was just not enough layers to make it, go on, because it got canceled. And which I was sad about, because I was like, man, you have a lot of things here that you could run with and roll with. Like Chimera, give me more Chimera. Give me a whole show about Chimera. And him being the stranger and whatnot. I think your Jedi call it Sith and whatnot. I think the writing too doesn't help with the Jedi Master Soul, who I really like, but also too, he's just like, I'll tell you another day. It's like, no. So that show has a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, I still enjoyed The Acolyte for what it was and what it could have been. Now we got to explore this whole universe and whatnot within books and comic books and whatnot. Kalnaka, the Jedi Wookiee, he really didn't get his due. he got mind controlled by a witch, and is like, oh, okay, cool. Now he's fighting. But now I got to explore his history through the comic book that came out. I believe they have a couple more books like set around the Acolyte that's coming out and stuff like that. So, and I just picked up Star Wars Mace Windu, his new book, Broken Glass, I believe it's called, or Broken Abyss. I don't know, it's Broken something, but it's a cool looking cover. I can't wait to read that story. I still got Star Wars Living Force. And yes, I still read the novels, but the novels themselves have been hit or miss as well. So I know I get people like, man, you will live and die on that hill that is Star Wars. That's like, yes, but there is things like, let's go to the Book of Boba Fett. Not one of my the best part of that show is when Mando shows up. Like Mando season 2.5 is when he shows up, gets his new ship and everything. That's some of the best Star Wars in that show. And every time he got in a bacta tank, I swear you could have taken a shot. Being like, oh, flashback. Oh, we could have done more with the sand people and everything like that. Like the whole tribal aspect of him, being with the tribe and showing them how to, like that train scene and everything like that. Then the weird biker gang with their weird bikes and whatnot. Like, there's just a lot in that show that just did not click with me. And I don't know why, but in that finale, like, cool, Boba Fett riding a Rancor, like, that's awesome. But for some reason, I was holding out some hope that for some reason that I was gonna get Han Solo and the Falcon with Chewie coming in and helping. I don't know why. I just did. I was just like, oh, Boba Fett riding a Rancor. That's cool. Well, I guess I can't win everything. But yeah, that show is kind of weak sauce as well. So I am critical because I love the Star Wars universe. I'm waiting for a movie. So they teased us with a trilogy that's on the horizon. They said it's going to be based on Rey. There's the Rey movie. There was the Boba Fett movie. There was a Jabba the Hutt movie. There was the Rogue Squadron movie. Kathleen Kennedy is like, we have all this. And we have nothing. And now they're talking about, let's go back to the episodes. Let's do episodes 9 through 12. Let's do that. And I'm just like, and they're like, let's focus on Rey. I'm like, oh my God, Lucasfilm. The whole thing about the rise of Skywalker was like, we're killing the Skywalker saga. The Skywalker saga must die. And it ends here. Then we have Rey at the end of the movie. He's like, I'm a Skywalker now. It's just like, well, doesn't that mean the Skywalker saga can continue since she adopted the name Skywalker? And she just took over Luke's old house, And I would like to see Rey. I would like to see Poe. I would like to see Finn. I feel like the problem with the sequel trilogy was The Last Jedi. it was a roadblock in that trilogy because they didn't have a plan. Like J.J. Abrams went up and was like, all right, I'm setting the playing field. Here's the story. Here's Rey. We want to know who her parents are. This and that. So much mystery, and that's the problem with J.J. Abrams. It's so much mystery in a box, you know. And I love J.J. Abrams, but the whole mystery aspect of his movies is sometimes like you don't really need that. Like Star Wars was just straight up like, hey, here's this. Here's this. Here's this. A, B, C. Not A, well, we got to think about... No. It's just A, B, C. We got to go save the princess. You know, we got to help her. You find out she's a badass and everything like that. Then we got to go destroy the Death Star. Like, that's this kind of storytelling that I really miss in Hollywood. Like, everyone tries to be clever. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, you could be clever, but you could also just tell a really damn good story that's going to resonate with me. That's why I love Star Wars so much. Like, for me, it resonated with me because I was a kid on the reservation, which is my Tatooine, and I wanted my adventure. I wanted to find my Death Star. I wanted to blow up the Death Star. Like, that was my goal. That was everything in my life. And that's why those movies, I love those movies so much. You know, that's why I'm ride or die on this whole franchise itself, because Star Wars means the world to me, you know? And I just really hope that they get a footing on where they want to go. Even if they do 9 through 12, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see where we go. Do we get Rey? Do we get Finn? Do we get Poe back? You know, because with the sequel trilogy, you really damaged Poe. You really damaged Finn. Like, even though he's like, Rey! Rey! You know, constantly yelling. You know, I think there's meat on the bone for those characters. Like, an ex-stormtrooper who becomes a Jedi was so fascinating with me. Like, him being Force sensitive and whatnot, I was like, oh! And nothing. You know, you make him the butt-end joke. You take Poe, who's this really badass pilot, then you have him be real stupid in the next movie, and, you know, with Holdo and everything. Yeah, the Holdo maneuver was cool and whatnot, but glad. You talk about a kick in the nuts for these characters, and be like, nope. And then you take a Luke, and you're like, yeah, that, you know, he threw the lightsaber over his shoulder, whatever. He disconnected with the Force. Then we get to the third movie, then it's like, no, everything's off the table there. Everything that happened in the last movie doesn't matter. That's what The Last Jedi did to Force Awakens. It's like, that movie starts with them blowing up the base. And like Mr. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that whole movie. What's funny is, like, Force Awakens sets up something so good. They killed Han, kind of destroyed me in the theater, yes. But it was a moment for Kylo. And when Kylo was such a great character to introduce to us. Then you go to the next movie, which, like, says, oh, fuck the last movie. Then you go into the third movie that's like, fuck that movie too. So, and that's why it just seemed all over the place. But they got it out there. Rise of Skywalker just kind of just, like, they really didn't do no promotion, no toys, no nothing. Like, it was very subtle. Like Disney was like, oh, gotta wash my hands of this franchise. Well, and now they're like, oh, well, we should do 3 more. We should do 3 more. The mouse is like, woohoo, you know, we should do 3 more movies. But I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping we just get some good storytelling. And if this whole next trilogy is on the horizon, I'm down. I'm going to be in the theater no matter what. I'm going to be on my couch watching Skeleton Crew, which I'm very interested to see what they're going to do with Skeleton Crew. I'm wondering what it's going to add to the lore. You know, it being an emblem story, you know, about kids going on an adventure and whatnot, kind of like Goonies and stuff. I just hope it's just fun. I just hope it's a fun, good time. And I will say that first trailer did not sell the show for me. The second trailer where they add the music, like, it was like, this doesn't feel Star Wars-y, it just feels like some sci-fi. But then you're like, you know, you're just like, okay, well, you know, I'm interested. I'm interested to see where the Skeleton Crew goes. What does it add to the lore of Star Wars? And, you know, there's so many great Lego specials too. I really wish I can get into the games. You know, I've read the synopsis for most of the games that came out. I really want to do Star Wars Outlaw, but I don't have the patience for games. which is weird because I have the patience to read a book in comic books, but I just don't have the patience to sit there and just play video games. I just don't. I don't know why. Does anybody else have that problem? I just don't have the patience to play video games, but I'm willing to sit there for like a few hours to watch a movie, a few hours just to read a book, a few hours just to, just sit there or just listen to music or something like that. But I don't have the patience to sit there and be like playing just, I don't. I think, I get frustrated. Like, I think the last game I played, and before I leave here, the last game I played was Avengers, because I was very excited about the game. That was the game I was like, oh, hey, I need to play this. I got to the level where Hulk fights Abomination, for all those gamers out there, and I could not beat Abomination to save my... I probably went 10, 20 rounds with Abomination, and I threw my hands up. And this is fairly early in the game, because I know there's a lot more. And I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. So, and I've been thinking of doing a stream of playing that game. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be like, I want to set some time aside to be like, you know what? Because I rebought the game. I sold the game and I rebought the game just because I was like, I need to finish this. Because I wanted to see where the story goes. I haven't seen these. I know the game's been out for a while. I haven't seen those spoilers and whatnot. I know, and then they had that next Captain America game with Black Panther. That looks cool. That looks cool. They got the Wolverine game, and I'm just like, man, I wish I was a gamer. I wish that this inner nerd was a gamer, but I'm not. Maybe I should try. But that's it. That's all. And I'm just hoping for the best for Star Wars, because it's all built on hope, right? At the end of the day, it's all built on hope. So, all right, y'all. Tell me what you think of the state of Star Wars. Where do you think they should go? I wrote a story about Rey years later, trying to restore the Jedi Order. I called the story Star Wars Burden. And it was her burden to try to live off the legacy of what came before her. Living off the name of Luke and the Skywalker name itself. Her trying to rebuild the Jedi Temple, but failing. That was her burden. She was failing at this. And, and then she finds out that Finn is dead, but he's really out there trying to... He's capturing sleeper agents in the First Order and whatnot. Chewie's still alive. He's old, though. He's old. BB-8's on the brink of death. But he's still rolling. He's still BB-8. Of course, you got C-3PO. You got this and that. I really wanted to explore more with Rey. So it was funny is when I wrote this story out, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I wanted to just keep writing it and put it out there as fan fiction, just because I had a really cool idea. Then they announced the Rey movie, and I'm like, oh. And it's kind of that. It was funny is when they announced they wanted to do the Rey movie, that kind of just stopped my flow. But I'll finish it. I want to finish it. I feel like I owe it to myself, because I don't like leaving things unfinished. That drives me crazy. Because there's a lot of things that I left unfinished, especially podcasting and whatnot. So, but that's a story I feel like I should flesh out more and just get it out there and just be like, here you go. Here's my Rey story, Burden. So, but that's it. That's all. Like and subscribe, share it with your grandma, share it with the bum down at Walmart. I am K&B, the Sexy Ninja. And remember, stay sexy, ninjas. Whoop, whoop.
The Rez kid popping off at the lid. I'm just a Rez kid popping off at the lid. About to do it big.